Hello and welcome to my porch. My name is Roy. I am a home cook and amateur baker, and I am here on this channel typically sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is obviously not a recipe since I'm on the porch, but it is a very hot day. It is only noon here in Massachusetts and it is 92 degrees. We are having a little bit of a heat wave. So I'm hoping to get this done before my camera decides to overheat and stop working, which on occasion it will do if it gets too much direct sun or heat on it. I have it in the shade, fingers crossed that it'll last throughout this whole tag. And fingers crossed that I last. I have my beverage here. Now for those of you who follow me over on Instagram or if you're in my Facebook groups, you know that I recently purchased the Premier Protein Root Beer Float. And I gave my review as it's good, not great. It's got the root beer flavor. It's kind of like those root beer barrel candies soaked in cream. But to enhance it, I mix it with a diet root beer. Now that tastes like a root beer float. So I'm okay with this. I don't think I'd buy them again, but I found a way to make it work. So the questions this week come from Mare over at NiteMare Bliss. Her channel, as well as the other channels that are doing these tags, or usually do them, we can't always do them, will be listed down below, as well as the questions. Now, this is a sleepy edition of no tags. All of these are sleep-related questions. Number one, do you take naps? On occasion, I do. I used to a lot more when I was working, because I was working, as many of you probably know, as a teacher, and I would have to get up early, but I have never been the type of person who can go to sleep early. I'm usually up till about midnight or so, and Sandy, I know you know this feeling. I don't like going to bed early. I'm up till at least midnight, sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier, depends on how tired I am. And then I just get up when I get up. When I was working, I'd have to get up at 5:30. So I was exhausted by the time I got home around 3 o'clock, 3:30. So typically then I would take a nap. On occasion I will now, especially if I'm not feeling well, but often if I had trouble sleeping, I'll need to take a nap. It's not a regular thing, but I do on occasion, and I usually try to make them short. Paul's the same way. If he has to take a nap for whatever reason, which is not typical, we'll try to keep it short because we don't want it to mess up that night's sleep as well. So typically no, but on occasion, yes. Long way of saying that. What's the best advice to fall asleep fast? I went over these questions with Paul, and he had some pretty good suggestions, which I agree with. First of all, making sure that you have a fairly consistent bedtime so that your body knows, okay, this is when I'm supposed to be preparing to wind down. But that doesn't always work for me. I sometimes get thoughts running through my head that I cannot stop. Sometimes it'll be a recipe I'm working on and thinking of how I can rework it. It could be anything. But what I do in those instances, melatonin really helps. It not only lets me go to sleep, but usually helps me to sleep through the night because I tend to toss and turn, sometimes wake up in the middle of the night. I've woken up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and had thoughts start running and couldn't go back to sleep. So melatonin really helps me there. So I'd say consistent bedtime and melatonin if you are having an issue. Number 3, what's the last thing you do before you fall asleep? Family friendly, laugh out loud. Well, at my age, pretty much everything I do is family friendly. Just kidding. We watch TV. I'll get into bed, I'll play on my phone for a little bit with the TV on, kind of like winding down from the day, letting myself relax. And then we'll just turn it off when we're ready to go to sleep. When I feel like I'm starting to drift, Paul's ready to go. He usually falls asleep a little bit before I do. But yeah, we usually I'll play some games on my phone, sometimes check YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, but typically playing games and watching TV. Number 4, what time do you wake up? I don't have a schedule necessarily. I no longer work. I'm retired because of my disability with my neuropathy and myopathy. But I do have to get up and I make coffee, breakfast for me and Paul. Someone did ask me recently what I have for breakfast, and I did a video a while back about the yogurt that I do with fruit, some granola on top. It's only 2 bites, 2 Blue Points. Anyway, because I have to do that and he has to be at work, starting for work at 10 because he works from home, I usually try to get up around 8:30 or 9. But, well, she said, what time do you wake up? Usually I wake up at least a half an hour before I get out of bed, at least, sometimes a little bit more. I am not one of these people who can wake up and get out of bed like Paul does. That is not me. I need to acclimate. Even when I used to get up at 5:30 for school so that I wouldn't disturb Paul, who didn't have to get up that early, I would go in the office, but I would sit there and veg out on the computer for a bit, letting myself acclimate to being awake. I am not one of these get up and go type people. So what I usually will do is wake up around 8 or 8:30, play on my phone, go through. I have certain games that I go through every day to get the free prizes, to get whatever. And that takes me half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on how invested I get in any of these games. Then I'll get up. So I'd say around 8 or 8:30. Again, long-winded way of saying it, but you know what you're getting here. Number 5, do you have a favorite pillow you can't sleep without? I do not. I have a preferred pillow because we have different pillows. We have some that we got from Casper, which are supposed to be like medium firmness, but are, to me, too soft. So I use the other one we have. Paul prefers the softer one, but I need to have some firmness underneath my head because otherwise it just makes me crazy. So I don't have a favorite pillow, but I do have a favorite type of pillow that has to be fairly firm. Number 5, no, that was number 5. Number 6, if you have pets, do they sleep in bed with you? As most of you probably know, if you've watched this channel at all, I'm not a pet person. If I were, however, I don't think I could let them sleep with me. I'm just a tosser and turner, and to have an animal in there, no. I mean, not that I begrudge anyone who does, but the way I sleep, I don't think it would be comfortable for me or for them, for that matter. Number 7, do you make your bed every morning? Now, when Paul and I went over these questions, his response was he would if I weren't still in it. My response is, no, not really. I will sometimes pull the sheets and blankets back up, but even then, depends on how quickly I'm trying to get up, or if I forgot, oh, it's getting too late, I have to get up. So basically my answer is no. Paul's answer is, I would if you weren't still in there. Number 8, do you keep water on your nightstand? I do not. I have enough trouble. I drink a lot of water throughout the day and will usually end up waking up in the middle of the night needing to use the bathroom, which I find irritating, and I actually try, if I wake up and feel like I need to go, I try to push it as long as I can. Luckily, I have not had any problems. Paul wouldn't mind having water on the nightstand. He generally doesn't, but if he did, it'd probably be bottled water. So that way, because my biggest fear would be moving, because I'm, as I said, a squirmer when I sleep. I toss and turn all night. My thing would be I'd probably hit it and it'd go falling all over the place. I do not keep water on the nightstand. Number 9, what kind of alarm do you use to get up? Or do you get up naturally on your own? Now, this is one thing that irritates me about Paul. He typically can wake up like his body is in tune with his mind, because he'll need to get up at 7 for something, and his body, he'll wake up at 7, if not like just before. Me, I could never do that. I need an alarm. If Paul uses an alarm, it's usually our Alexa that will get him up. Mine, I use my cell phone only because it's right next to me, and if I have to get up for some reason before Paul, like say I had an appointment, I wouldn't want to use the Alexa and have it wake him up as well. Usually once my phone starts to chime a little bit, I like immediately wake up and turn it off, so that hopefully it doesn't disturb him, because he's a very light sleeper. I'm not that light of a sleeper, so sometimes a little more difficult for me to wake up, but I try not to disturb him with any alarm, so I use my phone with a little gentle tingling, whatever sound. I cannot wake up naturally, as much as I wish I could. And number 10, top sheet or no top sheet? And then she has a little asterisk saying that she didn't even know this was an argument until she saw an article about it. We have to have a top sheet. I can't stand the heaviness of a blanket, sometimes the texture of a blanket directly on my skin. Most of the time, especially as the weather gets warmer, I'll be throwing things off of me all night long. So I usually like to have at least something on me, and a top sheet is a definite must for both me and Paul. But Paul did say it has to be a good thread count, because he doesn't want his skin being irritated by a rough sheet. I can't say I blame him. He spoiled me in that regard. I used to be able to sleep on just about anything, and now he's got me looking for Egyptian cotton. Who knew? Anyway, those are all of the questions for this week. Thank you, Mare, over at NiteMare Bliss, for these questions. I'm surprised that there were no questions about dreams, since this is sleep-related, and since your name is NiteMare Bliss, I would have thought there would be a dream-related question in there. So I'm going to ask one of you all who are watching this, do you remember your dreams? If you do or don't, respond down in the comment box. I'd be curious to know. Typically, lately, I'll remember them for about 5 minutes and then it's gone. On occasion, I will remember one for a little bit longer, or at least a fragment. But what about you? Do you remember your dreams? Let me know. Inquiring minds want to know. All right, so that wraps up this tag for this week. I cannot remember who is next week. I want to say it's Edie over at Edie's Adventures. I think. I'll post it here, whoever it is. But I hope you enjoyed spending this little bit of time with me, and if you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Subscribe if you haven't and you are looking for recipes that can help you on a weight loss journey. Share any of my videos if you think that there's someone out there who would appreciate the content, and hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. Also, as I said, comment down below, do you remember your dreams? If so, do you remember them for a while, or just like me, a few minutes and then they're gone? and feel free to answer the questions down there yourself. As I said, the questions will be in the description box right under this video, as well as the links to the other channels who are doing these tags typically. And also down there you will find links to my Amazon storefront if there's anything that I've used that you're looking for, which made me think I just got the mini boats that I use for my cream pies on Amazon. Don't know why I never thought of looking for them there. So I did link that in the Amazon storefront. When I ordered, there were only like 4 left. It was like a box of 24, I think. But it was only like $4.47, which was a really good price. So anyways, that's down there. Links to my Built Bar rewards, my Fetch rewards, and my social media. Here is my Instagram handle if you'd like to follow me over there. And there are 2 Facebook groups that I am part of. One is mine, Recipes with Roy, and the other one is Finding Our Way, WEIGH. And that one I co-admin with Jennifer Lynn from the Jennifer Lynn channel, as well as Bree Coleman from Balancing Life with Bree. So join us over there. There's lots of great tips, tricks, recipes, support, and people. So I am going to go and finish my doctored root beer float protein shake and enjoy some nice air conditioning inside and get out of this heat. So until next time, bye.